There was a prison rioting moment where the screws went and left us. There was a hole, so it was all the Glasgow boys hanging about with each other, so we all know each other. And the Edinburgh boys on the other side, the boys from Paisley, and all different areas, the different bits, and then pool balls started to get flung. We were thrown, and the screws went and left us in the hall and shut the gate, so we had the full hall to ourselves, and I owned a whole bottom flat. And one of the boys was going to get the face took off, and I stopped him to get the face took off because I didn't think it was fair. It was a boy from Paisley, done one of the Glasgow boys in a square go, which was a punch fight, and because we had the ball to ourselves, we were going to take the face off, and I stopped that happening. The pool balls getting flung, we just stood up and I just stopped throwing the balls, and I went in and I was like, with the screws, I was like, are we going to get any more sentences here? I started communicating with the screws through the fence. He says, if you get any more sentences, they're like, if you can control everybody and get them in that room, then we'll not give anybody any more sentence. So I was like, can we smash the place up? And the screws were like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I'm not going to listen to you unless I let them do something. And they were like, listen, well, you'll do whatever you'd like to get the boys in the hall, in the wee room. I turned around and said, listen guys, smash up. We'll take the hot plate and smash the place up. We covered the cameras with yogurt, smashed the pool hall up. We opened up the shutters. I was sitting with Weetabix and milk, just having a wee munch. And we were sitting smashing the place up. We got everybody in the room. I was like, listen guys, we're not getting a sentence for this, just enjoy yourself, enjoy the night. And a few years got people in the room, everybody went in the room, and then they came with the big bat and shaking and stuff like that, and allegedly we done, and I stopped a guy getting the Facebook off him, and that was the rioting moment, could have got his extra sentences and stuff like that. But apart from that, Sean, it was just minor incidents where people with windy, out the window, shouting they're going to do something, wake up in the morning, brushing their teeth, bending over a sink and getting swiped, and it was a daily occurrence.
I mean, there's been so many stories out of Glasgow, and shout out to the people who came and saw us at the Michael Francis in the gig in Paisley. I've got William with me today. I know it's going to be another insane one. I've read all the talking points, and he's been through a lot, but he's come out the other side with some inspirational stuff that we're going to get to. All of his socials are in the link. The links to them are in the description box below this video on YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube. And good grief, man. We're going to go over your story in the order that it happened. And huge thank you for coming on and sharing it. But before we start properly, Dan, in the order it happened, I like to start out with a hard-hitting story from your life. And something happened to you in Greece in 2008 after you'd left Barlini. So how come you ended up in Greece, William?
I was in Berlin in 2008 and I got out. My birthday was in the summer during the Euros, and I got a holiday to Greece. I went to different banks and took out loans and credit cards and went to Greece and Malia with the intention of not coming back. And I lost the plot on the beach. I started ripping up money, running around crazy. My friends taught me to get into the ambulance. I went into the ambulance, they took us to the hospital, they put drips in my arms. I ripped the drips at my arms, they pointed a gun at my head and says, get down, get down, get down. I said, shoot me. I was going mad. And I was like, shoot me, and they tasered me. And the next thing I woke up in a high security wing in Heraclion in Crete with a straitjacket on and men injecting me with tranquilizers to calm me down.
What was your reaction to those men injecting you?
I feared for my life. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was getting raped. I was getting, sorry for using these words, but I thought that things were happening to me. And I just completely lost my mind. And it took me a few days to realise where I was. I was in a padded cell with a wee hole at the front and a hole at the back where you could see in and see out. And I just started to cry, and they came in again and injected me, and I just kept calming down. I ran against the wall, padded cell, tried to get out and run for my freedom, and I just couldn't get out, and they just kept injecting me. But that was the worst day of my life, but it turned to my best day of my life because it gave me meaning and it gave me purpose. Eventually, when I got home, not at that time, but that time was hell.
And how did you get out of that situation?
The British Embassy took me home. My mum and dad came over. My dad got money off of the community in Rockhill and Maryhill in Glasgow. People are a loving community, they all help each other. And they knew that I was sectioned, and they gave my dad money, done a whip run, got my dad and my mum over. We got the British Embassy involved, and after 5 to 7 weeks, I got flown over, put in an aeroplane, but had to take medication and injection. and take medication on the plane. They flew the plane over, and I got took into Stow Paul McKinnon House, and then to Levendale, and then let out.
And how old were you at that point?
2008. I'm 38 just now, Sean. I'm not good at calculations, but 2008.
So if you're 38, that's 38 minus 16. So 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah, wow. All right, let's go back then to how this all started with you. Whereabouts were you born?
I was born in Glasgow, in Anderson. My mum was born homeless with me. My mum and dad had a romance in Rockhill Park and got pregnant at the age, my mum was 16. They had me at an early age, and my mum's dad threw her out the house because she had a kid to a Catholic. My dad went to the door, and my granddad says, God is not Catholic. He says Catholic. He shut the door on my dad and says that my dad wasn't going to be part of my life. And then my mum found that she was given, I was born in 1985 in the hospital just at Kelvin Hall. And my mum let my dad see me and my granddad for now and threw my mum out the house. So my mum was homeless with me. We went into the Hamish Allen Centre in Glasgow, and to 2-year-old we didn't have a house. We had social housing, homeless housing. Like you shared a housing unit with other people, and they stole my pram, and I was around drugs and stuff at an early age. And at 2-year-old, my mum got a house in Anderson and Pembroke Street.
Good grief, man. That is a rough start to life, isn't it?
It's a crazy start, but it's a good end.
Yeah. So, what's your earliest memories?
My earliest memories are probably quite a funny one, Sean. It's in Glasgow, the Celtic and Rangers stuff. I was 6 or 7, and my mum got me the Aberdeen top from a jumbo sale because it was 50 pence. She got me the Aberdeen and Arsenal top, the old ones. So the Aberdeen top, and I was going to wear it out in the street. And my mum says, I got you a top, son. I was happy to just wear any football tops. I never had one before. And I went out in the streets, and I was called a sheep S. But they call it Aberdeen because of the sheep stuff. And then the Celtic and Rangers fans kind of ganged up on me. And it was a funny moment, but it wasn't funny at the time. It was having the pleasure to show somebody a new football top and then called a sheep S at the end of it. And I didn't go down too well. So it was an early memory that the streets can be pretty rude, depending on what you wear.
So, we've got a lot of international viewers. Could you just explain to them a bit about the Celtics versus Rangers, what kind of feud that is? And
Celtic basically is the Roman Catholic team by Brother Walfrid, who made a Celtic a team from the Irish immigrants to feed soup kitchens and charity. And Rangers were the Protestant team who didn't welcome the Irish over. And the Protestant Catholic divide happened for a very long time in Scotland, and it caused many divides. But it happened centuries before. I'm a Robertson, and the Robertson clan even talked about King William being a fan of the boys rather than having a woman and a child. And it's been clan history and Scottish history through Catholic and Protestant divide for many centuries, and the Celtic and Rangers embraced the Irish and British sides to the Catholic and Protestant divide, and it caused a lot of unrest in the streets.
so what kind of unrest and violence did it cause?
Well, first in my own family, by me not being in my dad's life at an early age because of the Catholic-Protestant divide, meaning you're not allowed to be part of that life. And the streets of Glasgow would fight and battle. It wasn't just at the football, it was every day of the week. The Celtic and Rangers stuff, it happened in pubs and old men singing outside the pubs, singing songs like anti-Catholic songs. And on the other side, like Going Home British Soldiers or Up to Your Knees. And blood was the Rangers side of it. And it was just a divide for a very long time. It's still, they sing the songs today, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
So it sounds like football was a major interest of yours at a young age. What other interests did you have?
It was my dad that got me into football. I didn't actually like football. I just wanted to be like my dad, be like my friends around there. Behind me, I've got some books. I love the library. I love the Mitchell Library. I love playing chess, and I love keeping myself to myself. But I got hit with a brick on my way to the library when I was 7, and I got the side of my head split open.
Can you take us through that day slowly?
I mean, the young kids were playing. There was a truck. I stayed in Pembroke Street, and on the side there was a yard. Like we had no houses, it was just a spare ground, we called it. And there was bricks and people on a truck throwing bricks and stuff, and I walked past and people threw bricks, and one of them hit us in the side of the head, and I had to go to hospital. I don't know how many stitches on the side of my head. I was only 7 or something like that, and then I stopped going to the library as much, and I got pretty scared to go outside. And then one time I was fighting after it. One of the boys, I was square going with him in the street, and my mum tried to help me, and my dad says, hold him back, he's got to, he held my mum back and says he's got to learn to fight for himself. So I learned at 7-year-old, my dad wasn't going to help me, and I was on my own in the streets. And then after that fight, I stabbed someone and I rushed a nail in the stomach at 7-year-old, and that's the way it was escalating.
All right, that's a huge thing. Let's just slow down a bit. So, you've got attacked, you feel vulnerable, and your dad's not got your back. What were the circumstances that led to you picking up a knife?
It wasn't a knife, John, it was a rusty nail. It was an old rusty nail, see, like one of the. It was just something to defend myself. And
So this kid, are you saying this kid brought it to you?
It was both sides, because the boys and girls across the road and me, and every time I left the house, they would all attack me. And every time I go to the spare ground, they would hit me. So eventually I stood up for myself and says, I'm not taking it anymore. And then I got one of them back, and it caused a lot of unrest between the families and the dads and mums fighting in the street and stuff like that. I can't recall the mums and dads fighting. I'm just going through my mum's memories. It says it caused a lot of unrest.
Can you recall the incident itself? Like you went out and they started to bully you or something?
Well, sure, the incident itself is just recollection from the people that have told me that I've done it. I've got a bit of PTSD from my past that I can't actually remember the moment. I just know that I'd done it, and I had to go to hospital, and the mums and dads were over, and it caused a lot of unrest in the streets. But it was escalating because I got hit with the brick. I was fighting in the streets. I had the Aberdeen top. It was crazy. It was just crazy scheme life in Glasgow.
How long did it escalate for?
Just time after time, and then 7, 8, 9. My mum's car got blew up at 9. I had to. My dad got back involved in my mum's life, and when she got a house at 2, my dad got back in her life. Let's just say my dad won a lucky 15 and got some money, and my mum got a new car, and then the new car got blown up outside, and I went outside, and before going to school, seen the car all exploded, and had to go to school that day, and it was just scared for my life at an early age, Sean.
All right, that's another huge thing then. Why would someone do that to your mum's car?
I think, well, my mum's side of it is because they didn't pay the full bill of the full car. But I don't know if that's a true saying. But it's just that's the what I got told. It was an insurance job,
Right, okay.
but it wasn't. It was a petrol bomb through the window or something, and just that happened.
And why do you think it happened?
I think it happened because there was something dodgy in my life. I can't really go too much about it because there was money involved, and when we came to complete poverty, I remember having to go on Spalding trainers because I didn't have any money, the 50 pence jumbo sale stuff. And eventually my dad's buying me football tops and night trainers, and I was going to school with all the best of stuff. I went to school with Nike Air Max with a luminous air bubble and the grey trainers, expecting to get accepted because I got bullied for the bad stuff. And I thought that money would change things. I went in with the good trainers, and I was getting called Spaceman. So I realised that it was me was the problem. It didn't matter what I wore, whether they had money or not. But I'm expecting it came from money, from let's just say, must have won in the bookies.
I hear you. How was your school life during these turbulent years?
I went to St Patrick's Primary in Anderson, and it's got a lot of bad publicity because of stuff happened with Peter Tobin and the floorboards and stuff like that. But my early years in that school were brilliant. The teachers were fantastic. I love Mr McCabe. I love Mr McCartan. He was a great school teacher. He let me play football. I won a chess tournament in school. I passed my test. I was always highly emotional. I was always rushing my work, but I was good at chess, and I was good at reading, and I was good at learning about religion and philosophy. That was things I loved. I always had to hide them because it was the stuff you get bullied for. You don't write, as they say, you don't try and retract poetry and Poso. You cut up a bit. So the things that I liked weren't cool.
Well, good for you, man, finding some light amidst the chaos. You mentioned the thing that happened with Peter Tobin and stuff. Could you just explain to the viewers what you meant by that reference?
There was a man called Peter Tobin. People joke about it with Father Jerry because the priest was a bit of a banter guy. He had a drink and he got caught not being a real priest because he was having an affair with one of the women. And Peter Tobin was a serial killer. in Glasgow, they think he was Bible John, a guy who went around killing people. And Peter Tobin had a woman under the floorboards, and he killed the woman. So it was all in the news and the media. And then Anderson, just before that happened, he was asking us to be part of a football team, but I didn't know who it was. And we were all up for it. We were going into the chapel with him. And then eventually that broke in the news. And Father Jerry they had to be open in court. So it's all publicised and documented. The things I'm talking about in this case are all publicised on the Daily Record, the Sun, the newspapers, the STV News, and all these things. If you Google it, Peter Tobin was a serial killer. I think I don't know if he's dead or if he's doing like 40 years or something.
So at age 12, you got done with a replica gun. How did that come about?
My friends got a hold of a gun, and back then I was wearing island tops, and I was just pretending I was walking around with a gun, like shouting "ooh, ah, da," and running around like that. And next minute, the police came out of nowhere, like arm response down in the ground, and I had to be down in the ground. And I didn't see it as a I just seen it as a bit of fun, just having a joke saying like "ooh, ah, da," and that. And the police came down and put the arm response, told us to get down on the ground, came and jailed me. Took me to the children's panel, which means you had to go to a place. I think it was St Mary's in Bishop Briggs, but I didn't get sent there. I got a last warning, says any more trouble, you'll be going to a secure unit for kids.
Again, this is another extreme situation at such a young age. Let's go through it a bit more slowly. So, where were you exactly when you had this replica gun?
Across the road for the 101 in Anderson at the High Flats. There's a phone box in called The Wall. I don't know the name. It's a Glasgow street cuts right through Anderson. So Anderson's right in the town centre. And a Glasgow street cuts through. There used to be High Flats there, they're not there anymore. There used to be the 101 across the road. I was on the street at The Wall, so the traffic's coming by going into town, and I'm running around like that, and the police have come around and says, arm response, down, down, down. And I got caught with the replica gun.
As that happened then, armed response, can you remember what was going through your head, or were you too young to remember that now?
I was just young and daft. I didn't take it serious, Sean. I just thought it was a joke. I thought it was I didn't realise the implications of it. It was a real gun. It was almost like a real gun, and there could have been bullets in it. It was just people handed me it. I was just running around doing that. It's because I pointed it. They went to people, and the police. That's why the police were called, and they took us in.
And were you just walking around on your own with that, or were your mates around there as well?
We hung around in a team of maybe 15 to 20 years every day, and every one of us would be carrying something.
So somebody called it in, obviously, and then the cops come, and then they take you away. How are you feeling as they're taking you away?
My bottle went, Sean. I thought that was me getting locked up, and I thought I was getting took away from my family, but a bit of relief as well, because I felt like I was getting away from the heart at home, because behind the scenes, one of the family members was beating me up. But we don't call it beating up, it was just like DDing, punching you and giving you bruises in the arm and stuff like that. And at that time in my life, I felt that I was getting took away, but I was happy to get took away. I always knew that I was going to go to prison at that time in my life, and I thought that I felt sad, unhappy and hurt, but at the same time I felt relief. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because there was danger on the streets and danger at home. It's like you had no safety.
No safety net, no.
That's terrible. So you get taken away. What was your first stop? Was it like some holding cell or some interrogation room, or?
Took to Stewart Street and the city centre of Glasgow. So it's like a holding cell. They hold you there for the full weekend. But because I was so young, they only held us for a couple of hours. Phoned my mum and dad, and got a hold of them, and they had to come and collect me. And I had to go in front of the children's panel.
How did it feel when your mum and dad showed up?
Embarrassed. I was embarrassed. Like it was like all the shame was on me. My mum already had a hard time for the stuff she was doing with my dad and stuff like that, and she was embarrassed because my dad done his best for me. He was a good guy to everybody else, but he just didn't know how to hold down the family because he was a bit of a lad's lad. He was only a young boy. My mum was 17, so it's not my mum or dad's fault. Imagine having kids at 17 and then trying to settle down and marry. It's not going to happen. Plus, you've got your friends around you and stuff like that. So when they came to get me, I felt embarrassed and ashamed. They were wanting me to do well, and I was going around. They were blaming my friends, but it was me. I was the hyper one at times.
And by 13, you're getting in serious trouble at school. What was that about?
Well, I went to St Thomas Aquinas at first in Glasgow, at St Patrick's, my dad wanted me to go to a Catholic school, because I'll take you back to 1985. My first name was William Alexander Lamont. My granddad shut the door and says Catholic or Protestant, shut the door. I got my name changed to William Robertson. My dad's second name's Robertson. He was always adamant I'd be a Celtic fan, a Catholic, and I'd love that life. So he was always forcing it in me. That's how I got so involved with Celtic. And with St Patrick's Primary, I went to St Thomas Aquinas School because it was a Catholic school. And with that Catholic school, everybody in Anderson fought with everybody from Scotstoun. It was an area thing in Glasgow, so they would fight with Scotstoun White Inch and stuff like that. I'd have to get the bus from Anderson to St Thomas Aquinas. All my friends went to the school across the road, which was a Protestant school. Even the Catholics went to that school. All my friends went to that school because other family didn't want to get into trouble. My dad wanted to go to a Catholic school, and because I went to the Catholic school, I was in a lot of trouble with gang violence and fighting.
Right, and you got expelled.
I got expelled, but before I got expelled at St Thomas Aquinas, the first day in school I got a knife held at my throat, and they took my Harry Hansen jacket off me. I was standing and saying, "Listen, I can't get the jacket off. Like, go and get it off." Like that, and I unzipped my jacket. I need to take the jacket, and then with the same boys, one of the other guys got him stuck a knife in my stomach, but it was a joke shop knife, one of the knives that fold back on himself. So they just ran up and done that to me, and my bottle went. I thought I'd been stabbed, and I just got a lot of trouble in St Thomas Aquinas. I wasn't hitting back. I was scared, and eventually I hit some people back that I probably shouldn't have. I hit the wrong people rather than the right people. And my mum moved me to St Thomas Aquinas to Hull Head. And in Hull Head, that's the school I got expelled from. I got suspended first and expelled because there was a fight, because of all my friends, we were all together. So Anderson, Poso, Mary Hill, we all jumped about together, and we fight against the Asian people who were like Charing Cross and my friends were from George's Cross as well, and Charing Cross, and we called it Pacaderi, and they called it Pacaderi, and it was all Asian people, and they would go to the mosque and we would fight families and stuff like that. It was a crazy thing. And in school, I went round with some of the boys to fight, and I ran into the outside the mosque. I didn't go into the mosque, it was just that was their meeting point. And they came down and they attacked me, hit me with scaffolding poles and stuff like that. My friends all ran away from us. And then I went to school the next day, I broke one of the boys' noses, and I hit a few people, and I got the high school teacher, Mr. Cunningham, says, "Are you going to retaliate?" I said, "I'm not going to stop until I've got my revenge," because I felt I was totally justified because I got attacked. I got attacked with weapons, so I attacked them back, sort of stuff. And I learned never to respect authority from a young age. I'll take you back to a story in Anderson, Sean. This is a story from somebody else. I know I want to talk about my own story. My friend isn't here anymore, but he taught me. He's passed away. But he taught me in the streets not to respect authority for doing wrong. Because in Anderson, the police used to beat you up and take you from one area to the other and let you out in the street and get the other mob to chase you, or they used to beat you up. And my mate attacked 2 police. People know who I'm talking about. He attacked 2 police, and I learned from my early age, even if the authority is wrong, stand up to it. So when I went to school and the teacher says to me, "Why are you doing this? You're going to do it again." I said, "I am going to do it again." And they expelled me. He says I was a nuisance and stuff like that. It was on STV News and the media. But I learned at a young age that my friend was saying, step up to authority. I watched him. He was a well-loved, well-respected member of the Anderson community. And when he died, he had the biggest football, like the whole fence was covered in football stuff. I'm not a mile long, but the size of the flat's long. And he was well respected and well loved. And because he seen the injustice of what was happening to his pals with the police, he attacked 2 police, which has never happened before. And I have total respect for him. He taught me it doesn't matter the authority, you challenge it. And I learned that at a young age, to challenge the authority if it was wrong.
So after you got expelled then, was it just pure street life?
I got expelled and I wasn't allowed into school for a while, and I got moved to Clevedon and Mary Hill. My dad stayed in Mary Hill, my mum stayed in Anderson. So I went to Clevedon Secondary School and I'd calmed down a bit. Because I didn't know anybody, I was starting afresh. I wasn't around my pals and groups and I wasn't any fighting. I done well with English and maths. I got to read books. I got to learn. My English teacher said I would grow up telling a story or writing a book or stuff like that. And I thought that she gave me that wee bit of hope. And they believed in me and they put me to college. And then eventually I went to college and I left college because I got offered a labouring job. And I thought by getting more money at the labouring job, £150 a week, I dropped out of college and went to the labouring job at 16. So
things took a turn again, didn't they? And you end up having a situation with a knife.
yeah, well, there was two situations with knives. The first one I got done with a corkscrew. It was a bottle opener, like a corkscrew at one side and a wee knife at the other, and I had it in my pocket. And I went down Garnet Hill and the police pulled me up and says it was a knife. And they took me to court the next day. And I got done with I got a 5-week remand, so it was my first time in prison. You go to Berlin for the night and then into Pullman. It's a 5-week remand. After the 5-week remand, I got a 2-year sentence for stabbing in the town.
All right, let's go over those a bit more slowly again then. So, a night in Berlin, what was that like?
It was all right. It was no TV, no nothing. Celtic were playing Anderlecht, I think. I was supposed to go to the game, but Celtic won 3-0. So when Celtic score, you bang the doors. So we didn't know the score. We just heard somebody else shouting from the other hall, and we banged the doors, and the screws would come in like, "You effing shut up!" And they're like, "You jog on." And they're like, "Listen, we're not kidding on. It's Berlin here. We'll do you in." Then the Celtic scored again. We 2-0, 3-0, but because the full place erupted. We didn't get done on it off the screws that time, so it was just a place. It was a cell. You're in with somebody else the night before you go to Pullman. There was only one night in Berlin before you get shipped up to Pullman.
So your fear of prison then did that not exist at this point?
No, it was like a social club, Sean. Because when you went in, you kind of knew everybody. I knew everybody for the streets. Because my dad, when I was younger, at 11-year-old, my mum made me go and stay with my dad. My dad had a bed sitting in Denniston, a Christmas rod and stuff like that, and there's loads of stories there. My dad took me on at 11 under his wing, and we moved from place to place, from Kirkintilloch to Denniston to Rockhill to Maryhill. We're always moving about, so I kind of knew everybody and knew all the dodgy people, and they were on at the same time. So it was like a club. It wasn't like the Dangerous Boston and stuff like that you hear about in the Berlin days. Like I know I was painting a guy's house, a guy I know's house the other day. He was in the special unit, the older generation of Berlin, and the stories they tell, it wasn't like that. It was a completely different Berlin. It was a Berlin where you knew everybody.
So you said you had a lot of stories from that location.
What one, Berlin or
the one that the one that you just mentioned when you were 11? Did you say?
With my dad. My dad came into. My dad didn't have money growing up, and he came into a wee bit of money. My dad, 11-year-old, I wanted to be my dad because he was with all different women and supported Celtic and went to different countries and stuff like that, and had a cracking life. And I wanted to be with him, but he stayed in a bed sit, so he was living this life, but he didn't have any. He didn't have the house or anything like that. He lived in a bed sit. He shared with other people. And before going to school, we didn't have a washing machine, so we'd have to get the towel and put the socks in the towel, and he'd told one side of the towel, I'd told the other. He'd warm the socks up for going to school. But he'd be on holidays and he'd be going to different women and taking different women up places. I wanted to be like my dad. And then at Christmas time, because we lived in the bed sit, my whole Christmas present was hidden in the car, and my Christmas got robbed and stuff like that. And it was just a crazy time in my life. And house to house and place to place, my dad knew everybody, so he was always going messages, so I kind of knew everybody, and through that life I learned a lot of street wisdom or something. I don't know what wisdom is. Wisdom's a stupid word that I don't know, but street smart, as they call it. I learned a lot about the streets and people, and eventually when I was 18, my dad even took us down to the poker club in the Cincinnati Club in the Gorbals, and I taught us how to play Texas Hold'em poker and just having a laugh at the guys and playing. And just my dad's had a kind of crazy life or a new place. He won a tournament in poker in Australia. Been around following Celtic. We come from nothing, and my dad got a wee bit of money. He spent it all. He's skint now, but he had a good life. He doesn't care about money at all. He just thinks to spend it, love it, enjoy it, but we never had a good home life. We never had a stable home life. We had just had crazy stories one after the other in different places. But I always knew I was going to Pullman and Berlin. That's where we're going next, and this kind of talk.
So when you were about 17, then there was the stabbing. What were the circumstances that led to that?
And allegedly, a lot of stabbings were going around in Anderson area, because Anderson, I know you've had people on the podcast with Poso and stuff like that, and it gets a bad reputation in Poso. Anderson's actually the worst crime rate in the UK at that time. Anderson had prostitutes at one end, the escorts, the women, and had the gay prostitutes at the other end, in the Kelvin Grove Park. And in the middle, every single area in full of Glasgow would get to Anderson. because Anderson's a town centre, so RKO nightclub, and you would go to all the nightclubs like RKO's, Destiny, The Moon, all these sort of places, but they're all around about Anderson area. And Anderson was just most of my time I thought, yeah, Anderson was a really bad area for the crime because we were getting chased about off all the schemes. And then the carnival was at the SEC, and at the carnival time, all the schemes from Wine Alley, Govan, Easterhouse, Gorbals, Black Hill would all meet for gang violence in the carnival, and it was hectic, Sean. It wasn't a nice place to stay in the 90s and noughties, that's for sure.
Okay, and then how did you get apprehended for this?
Oh, the 2-year sentence, that's what we're going with, wasn't it? So the stabbing, there was a lot of stabbings going on. Allegedly, I've been part of these stabbings, and I was a bit getting a name for myself in the streets, and the police caught me in Sucky Hall Street and searched me for a knife. I didn't have a knife on me, and 2 minutes later, or 12 minutes later, I got done with a stabbing round the corner that I can't remember, and I pled not guilty to it. I still can't remember that night, Sean. I was fully it. I was taking, well, back then I was taking booze and ecstasy and everything else. I can't remember that night, but I got done with a stabbing in Scott Street and Garnet Hill. So it's a hill where you just leave Sucky Hall Street. I got done with a stabbing there because the police came and said, they were investigating a stabbing. William Robertson in the back of the van, it was you. And I went to Stewart Street police station again. I was like, when am I getting out? He says, you've killed somebody, son. And I was like, my heart sank. I was like, I can't remember doing nothing. I woke up in the morning, totally oblivious, and I went to court a year later, about 9 months later, something like that, and I got guilty. There was 3 witnesses, and the 3 of them says I stabbed the boy up the bum. Not just at the bum, and I got a 2-year sentence. I done 12 months. I got out after 12 months. That was in 2004. 2004, I got the sentence. I was out in 2005.
They said you'd killed somebody. Was that not true?
No, it wasn't true. No, it was just the police officer said it to me because I was doing a lot of things, and I was getting picked up for everything. Even a Rangers manager's car got smashed outside the bowling. Michael Arteta, it's the Arsenal manager, his car got smashed outside the bowling, and I got picked up for it. And anytime there was something going on, I got picked up for it and put in, and I've been put in for many different things. So that time, I still to this day don't know if it was me, Sean, but I got a sentence for it, and the things I got away with, it was deserved that I got a sentence through being involved in that life.
How does it feel to get sent down as a teenager?
I remember the day, Sean, I was wearing a Republic Island jersey under my jumper, and when I got sentenced, I took the jumper off and gave a sign, and I was ready for it. I was ready to go and do a sentence. I was ready to get off the streets and get away from alcohol and women and find peace within myself. And I went into Pullman, and I had the idea I didn't want to watch the telly. I wanted to read books. I read Jimmy Boyle's Sense of Freedom. I read 10 Men Dead. It was like a library. I was given a library. I wasn't allowed in with anybody else. I was in myself. They gave us as many books as I wanted. So I could just read all day, and I could learn and write. And I started writing jail letters out to everybody. And I started reading and learning and developing my mind. And I found a lot of peace. I would do press ups in the morning before the screws came in, and they would start calling us Wally workout. I lost 8 stone just by working out and doing well. And they let us on the treadmill sometimes. And I done really well in the jail. I learned a lot about myself. I passed courses in IT, communications, English, and other subjects. So I can't really remember. It was like health and safety and these sort of things you learn for getting out. I learned all that stuff, but I didn't have any fear going into prison because I knew people in prison. There was a lot of bad stories in prison. Allegedly, I'd done a few things as well, but in Pullman, a lot of people got the face took off them, like a slash mark. A lot of people would get slash marks or they would get stabbed, but mostly in Pullman it was slash marks. There was a lot of funny things in Pullman, but I never want to glorify that life. I knew I was going in that life. I seen people get attacked in visit rooms and their mums crying. I see kids crying for their mums and dads. I hated it. I read the book 10 Men Dead where Joe McDonald's son would pretend his dad was with him when he wasn't. It was heartbreaking. I never want to glorify that life. We don't about the way they talk in Pullman, like they've done this to that person, done that. It was a horrible situation to be in, Sean, but I found a lot of peace in Pullman because I got left alone because I could handle myself, and I got to read books and develop my mind. Like yourself, I read that you read psychology and philosophy when you were in as well. So it's like you learn and you develop your mind, and I wanted to have freedom when I got out. in 2005 on my lib day was Bobby Sands' anniversary, the 5th of May. I remember getting out with a flute, because I learned to play the flute in prison. That was into trouble as well. You're allowed an instrument in prison in Pullman, whether it be a guitar, a flute, or whatever else. I never knew how to play the flute. The guy above me was from Govan, and he was teaching me. He knew all the Loyalist songs, and he was teaching me how to play the flute below. And I'm like that. And shut that noise, and I'm like, I'll see you in the morning. And then you're going out and you're fighting and battling and just all daft stuff. And in Pullman, it was crazy because it would be called window warriors, Sean, in Pullman, where you would shout at the window and it would just like catching fish. I would never involve myself in it, but you just listen at the windows and people would shout, and then eventually that would fight in the morning. That's why people got tanned in the face and stuff like that, all through shouting at the window, saying they're going to do something. I didn't involve myself in that. I didn't involve myself with drugs either. I never took drugs in prison. I just press up, sit-ups and stuff like that. There was a prison riot in Pullman where the screws went and left us. So that story in Pullman was about 6 months into the sentence. There was a hole, so it was all the Glasgow boys hanging about with each other, so we all know each other. And the Edinburgh boys on the other side, the boys from Paisley, and all different areas, the different bits, and then pool balls started to get flung. We were thrown, and the screws went and left us in the hall and shut the gate, so we had the full hall to ourselves, and I own a whole bottom flat. And one of the boys was going to get the face took off him. I stopped him getting the face took off him because I didn't think it was fair. It was a boy from Paisley, done one of the Glasgow boys in a square go. It was just a punch fight, and because we had the ball to ourselves, we were going to take the face off him. I stopped that happening. The pool balls getting flung, we just stood up and I said, stop throwing the balls. And I went in and I was like, went to the screws. I was like, are we going to get any more sentence here? I started communicating with the screws through the fence. He says, if we get any more sentence here, like, if you can control everybody and get them in that room, then we'll not give anybody any more sentence. So I was like, can we smash the place up? And the screws were like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, they're not going to listen to me unless I let them do something. And they were like, listen, well, you'll do whatever you'd like to get the boys in the hall, in the wee room. And then I turned around and said, listen, guys, smash up. We'll take the hot plate and smash the place up. We covered the cameras with yogurt, smashed the pool hall up. We opened up the shutters. I was sitting with Weetabix and milk, just having a wee munch. And we were sitting smashing the place up. I got everybody in the room. I was like, listen, guys, we're not getting a sentence for this. Just enjoy yourself, enjoy the night. And a few years got people in the room. Everybody went in the room. And then they came with the big battens, shaking and stuff like that. And they took us in one by one to our cell. And nobody got an extra sentence for it. So we had a riot. There was fighting with pool balls, fighting, and that was all on camera. So the people that were on camera got caught. The cameras got shut off with yogurt.
Hey, do you know what that sound means? Ooh, that's something I've been hearing a lot lately. I can't help but love that. That's what I hear when I make another sale on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. The Pokemon business I've recently started with someone is absolutely thriving thanks to Shopify. Shopify accepts all kinds of payments, and sometimes it's complex when you get on a platform, but their dashboard makes it completely simple. Covering all your sales channels from a shopfront-ready POS system to its all-in-one e-commerce platform, Shopify even gets you selling across social media marketplaces like Facebook, Insta, TikTok, and YouTube. Full of the industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth, Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without learning new skills in design or coding. And thanks to award-winning help and with an extensive business course library, Shopify is ready to support your success every step of the way. So when it comes to dealing with people all over the world, Shopify is absolutely enabling us to smash it with our Pokemon business. Before Shopify, our Pokemon card business was in the dark ages. It's time to get serious about selling and get Shopify today. This is Possibility powered by Shopify. Sign up for a £1 per month trial period at shopify.co.uk/Sean, SHAUN, all lowercase. Go to shopify.co.uk/Sean, SHAUN to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.co.uk/Sean. Link in description box below this video on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Back to the podcast.
So you couldn't see the cameras, and a few things happened in the hall. Allegedly, that we done, and I stopped a guy getting the face took off him, and that was the riot in Pullman. I own a bottom flat. That's about the only trouble that was documented in a bad way. It could have got us extra sentences and stuff like that. But apart from that, Sean, it was just minor incidents where people with one day go to the window, shouting they're going to do something, wake up in the morning, brushing their teeth, bending over a sink and getting swiped. And it was a daily occurrence. It was just full of carry on. You would do daft stuff as well, Sean. Like, some people would set it up as well. I remember it's called a coffee jobby. So it's like you put toilet paper and granules of coffee mixed with water and rub it together so it looks like a jobby, and you throw it into the cell, and then people would fight each other thinking they put the jobby in the cell, and they would fight each other, and it's just full of carry on. Young boys set each other up with jokes, and eventually it was turned into knives. And we razors getting put together in a toothbrush and melted, and people getting done for just stupid stuff, John. It was just stupid young boys always in together having a carry on. Some people took it too far, and but I had no problems in Pullman at all. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time. Enjoyed reading and learning. I wanted to get out and develop my mind and move to better things. And I got a job when I got out. I worked for Sky. Done some daft stuff with Sky. I shaved the boss's eyebrows the night out. He fell asleep at a party and I shaved his eyebrows. So we kind of fell out, and I moved to AIG. The mob that sponsored Man United, the insurance company. I started getting into sales, and then from that, I met a girlfriend. Was going to settle down, and then I went to a night out in Dumfries. I was doing really well at sales, but I met my old friends. Went out to Dumfries on a night out and got done with, I think it was three assaults, one serious assault, permanent disfigurement, and I breached the peace all in a night out in Dumfries, and I got 4 years with a third off. So I got 32 months, and that was me in Dumfries prison.
Can you remember the details of that night out?
Yeah, I work night out. I had a suit on. I'd done really well with sales because I was a top salesman, and I had a suit on. And I went to meet, and one of my pals was taking crack, and he came in with a Lacoste tracksuit on and a Subway cape, one of the Subway sandwiches capes. I'm sitting with these guys with suits on doing sales. He's came in smoking crack, and I'm like, what's going on? And my other pals came as well. And I was like, we have to go. I was like, I have to go with him. I have to get him out the place. So there's 3 years. I'll not mention their names, but we went. We decided to go to Newcastle on a night out, and I had money and I had credit cards and stuff like that. And my mate went home, we changed, got a suitcase. We were still saying we got to Newcastle on a night out. 3 years we didn't go to Newcastle. We got off at Dumfries. Asked people for directions. This was bang order from myself. Asked people for the directions. We were bamming up, having a joke, sending us one way, sending us the other. And I punched one of the boys. And I was like, idiot. And then I went to the nightclub, Jumping Jack's nightclub. We were in. We asked to keep our suitcase in behind the club. We were in. Everybody, like, it's just everybody dancing around. My mate's parted into somebody else's missus or something along with a woman. They started fighting. I went over to separate it. I've got hit with a bottle and I fell on the ground, and eventually the bouncers got on top of me. I got done with all the assaults and the dancing. I never done anything at that time. I know everybody in the jail didn't do nothing, but I punched the boy at the train station. That was me. But in the dancing, I never done anything, but I got done with 3 assaults in the dancing. The boy I punched at the train station never had a broken nose when I punched him, but 2 weeks later he had a broken nose, and his dad was a policeman in Dumfries. So they changed. Something happened that his nose. It was a broken nasal, so his nose wasn't broke at the time. He had to go back in with breathing problems. His nose was broken. That's how I got the 4-year sentence. Made an example. A Glasgow boy got off train, and it's in the publicised in the Dumfries News that because of the riot. But it wasn't a riot. It was one punch at the train station, and a night out in Jumping Jacks turned into a fight. But one of my friends, he had a lockback knife, the one that was smoking, and I had a lockback knife, and we were taking drugs, and I never touched. I've took ecstasy and pain.
No, you're fine. I'll mute that. Don't worry. So, what were the craziest things you saw during that 4 years?
In Dumfries, it was like a holding unit. It was a remand hall. It was 32 months ago, Sean, so it was 4 years down to 32 months for pleading guilty to it. So I pled guilty and they gave me 32 months. So 4 years with a third off is 32 months. And Dumfries was a remand unit that held all the prisoners had done terrific crimes against women, children, the sort of things, in one side of Dumfries. That's where they all kept them all. And we never got to see the prisoners. We were in a different hall and unit, and that was in the remand hall. Once I got sentenced, they kept us in Dumfries. I think the remand was a fully committal, so say 3 months in remand, and then they says to me, if you get in any trouble, you're going straight to Ballini. They used to threaten people with Ballini. So the first thing I done, I went up and punched somebody, and I wanted to get sent to Ballini, and they knew it. I think they knew that I wanted to go to Ballini to be home closer to home, and they put us in solitary confinement for a month, and then I came back up again, and they says, you're put you in a room with your pal, because my pal was sentenced to us at the time, and I just smashed the telly, smashed up, and went back to the solitary, done most of the time in solitary, and he done it as well. He started punching people and messing up, so the two of them solitary next to each other, so we could talk through the window, and that was basically, the feast was basically just getting solitary until we get moved to Ballini, but there wasn't any riots, anything like that. It was just fighting, and you were allowed your PlayStation in. It was like an open unit. You weren't locked up 24 hours a day in the feast remand. You were open up all day really. You could go in at the cells, and it wasn't like any other jail that I've been in. And you go to another hall, they put you in, you can cook your own bacon and stuff like that. And it's a weird. It was like an enhanced unit for prisoners that are doing good. You could go in and cook bacon and stuff like that. And they put me in that unit as well, and I'd just smash up and smash the TV and stuff. And the governor had a pen in my eye saying, "You think you're a wee hard man? You'll never get out of here. I've seen people like you before and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Just send me to Ballini." And eventually they sent us to Ballini, and that was, we get out of Dumfries. But Dumfries was just fighting it. It was punch fighting. There wasn't any weapons used or anything like that. It was just a time on remand, a 4-year sentence, 2 months. Went to Ballini. I had my girlfriend at the time. It was a pretty interesting story. I went up to Ballini, told everybody my girlfriend. She's absolutely beautiful, Sean. Lovely looking lassie. She's model material. And the screws were getting us a hard time. And she went on Miss Scotland, which is a model thing. You send your photo in paper. And on the paper she says, "Single and not looking, just enjoying life." And the screws put it under my door. But it's because her mum and dad were police officers. Her mum and dad were police officers, so she couldn't tell me she was still seeing me. She was supposed to stop doing it with. But I got that, my heart was wrenched, man. I was like, "This is murder." And that just didn't last after that. So in Ballini, I became in Ballini at the start. I fought a couple of times. I went for a couple of people. No, just fist fighting, and eventually they seen me as an enhanced prisoner kind of, as if I was doing well. We were going to move us to what's the hall, Latham Hall. So Latham Hall was like an open hall. So I said we were going to get the tags so out early because I was doing well. I'd started on the fight in the Dumfries. I got to Ballini. I was settled in a bit. I had a couple of fights, and then in Ballini, I just settled in a bit, and they were going to move me to Latham Hall, and then through Latham Hall to get the tag.
What were the circumstances surrounding those fights in Ballini?
It was the first one was a boy for Dundee. He was in the hot plate, so the hot plate serving the food. And I went out and I walked past and I forgot to pick up my custard and cake. And he says to me, "You're not getting your custard and cake. You have to wait back in line." So I jumped out to try and get him, and then the screws pulled him up like an envelope. They folded me up. The way they do it in Ballini, if you ever get carted in Ballini, they fold you up like an envelope. Every single lock, every single way, they did like that, and parked in, and that was it. And Ballini was a bit funny as well because I was in myself. They wouldn't put me in with somebody else because of my record for Dumfries, because of violence and unpredictability. And in Ballini, they ended up putting me in with one of my friends. And one of my friends, it was New Year's night, and I was eating soup and he farted. So I was like, I'm not talking to you again. And then I was kind of, I was sleeping. It's like, "Happy New Year, bro." Kind of, I was sleeping with him. But I never talked again. If it was somebody else, I would have done a mention, but because he's my pal, he farted when I was having my soup, and I was like, "You put me off my soup," and we never spoke again. Just a funny story like that. But Ballini had the mobile phone and that, and just phoning my missus, and it was just a simple life in Ballini to get out.
So the times then they put you in solitary, how did you find it?
I loved it, Sean. It was brilliant. I got the time to feed my mind and read and develop myself. So I was just doing press ups, sit ups. I would have a pen and paper, so I would write down on the paper, say like 1,000, and then do press ups and 1,000 sit ups, and then lifting the one wee chair. And I would just do 15 at a time, and try and hit 1,000 a day. And I would just try and read books. I love my books, like reading and learning and developing myself. So it gave me a bit of peace. I didn't like TV. I didn't like watching. After reading 10 Men Dead by David Beresford, he talked about Bobby Sands calling people watchdogs and says it ruined their mind, and they'll be reading them developing themselves when they were in places like this. There's an old saying in Ireland with the Catholic Protestant divide: the Protestants would be building their muscles, while the Republicans would be building their brains, and that they were reading books and learning to get into politics and change the world for the better, while the Loyalists were getting bigger in muscles and built strong, but the Republicans were learning to get into Parliament and stuff like that. I was reading all that kind of stuff, and it was really interesting because I was seeing the future. I getting out of jail and being a better person. I had a girlfriend at that time. Obviously, on Miss Scotland said she was single. I wasn't going to go too well, but it didn't work out. When I went to Greece, it kind of fell after that. But in Berlin, in solitary and freeze, I loved having time to myself. It was just peace. I own my own time, Sean. I value time more than money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. And I appreciate your time for giving me your time on this. And time is the most important thing we can have. And I learned that in prison, that time is precious.
Appreciate you spending time with us. And from what you've told me so far, it's like you've got a dual personality. You've got the library, you've got the study, you've got the courses, the reading. And then on the other side, you're so in deep with the violence and what's going on around you. It's like there's two sides struggling, and one's got to emerge. And early, you referenced how I was doing this self-study, but I was in my 30s. You were like late teens, early 20s, which is very mature to have that side to you at that age. During those periods of being in solitary, were you reflecting on the other side, the dark side?
I faced it double within myself, John, as well. I'd learned a lot about Buddhist meditation, sitting at peace with myself. I got into religion and philosophy at a young age. I wanted to be a devout Catholic when I was younger. I got into Buddhism. I wanted to be a monk, and I started getting envious of monks and stoics. I wanted that peace. I knew that I couldn't have it because my mind goes 100 miles an hour. But I've always been envious of monks and stoics and how they could have that mind to nothing can get in here. And I wanted that mindset. I was fascinated with having a mindset that nothing could touch. And then one of the screws every day, I'll take it back to Pullman when I was reading this sort of stuff. And one of the screws every day would say, "Get the Queen's dishes ready," because I had volunteer Bobby Sands quotes on the wall. "Our revenge will be the laughter of our children." And there's nothing in our imperial arsenal that can beat something that doesn't want to get beat. And they would say, "Get the Queen's dishes ready." And I would turn it around every single day, say, "Get the Queen's dishes," and they would have a joke. They had the big Ulster tattoos and stuff like that. And then at Christmas Day, he opened the door and says, "Get the Queen's dishes ready." And I was like, "No problem, sir. I'm a slave in here. You're a slave to the paycheck, and you're missing your wage Christmas. You're the real idiot here." So it's having that mindset that nothing could get inside me. And I learned that for like Dionysius the Cynic in the philosophy, with Alexander the Great, when he says, "Get out of my sunlight." When Dionysius says to Alexander the Great says that, "I own the whole world and give you anything you want." And he says, "Get out of my sunlight." He was having that philosophy that nothing can get inside your mind. That's what I always wanted, Sean. I didn't want rubies or gold. I wanted something in my mind that nothing could touch.
So at that young age then, during that incarceration, did you have a post-release plan to prevent you from getting back in trouble?
I got the tag. I went from Berlin to A-Hall. I was in, was it D-Hall? C-Hall's the remand. And then I got put into A-Hall. And then in A-Hall, I got moved to Latham Hall. So it's early release, so you're kind of a good prisoner. Can't remember the hall, but it was A-Hall, we wore the red jumper. And then I went to Latham Hall, and Latham Hall's like an open. I'm trying to remember my memories. But you got the key to your own, not the key to your own door. You got the key to your own door. And Latham Hall was this. You've been in Berlin, you've been in a tour of Berlin.
When I visited Johnny Boy Steele, he took me to Berlin, the surroundings, and he showed me like the walls and how he escaped, where he escaped over the wall and everything.
And the guys that I was speaking the other day told me about the podcast and stuff like that. He knew all of them as well. He would take his son in to interview them all, and he became a top lawyer in Scotland by being around those sort of people, and says he was going to free them all and stuff like that. It's a wonderful story. He would sit around them all, and he became a top lawyer. He was like, "I'm going to become a lawyer." And so in that, you've been around Berlin. It was the whole. Like everybody was getting out early, went to Latham Hall, and if you passed drug tests, we get out early. So I would be peeing in everybody's milk cartons. So if people went for a drug test, they'd be using my pee. So when they went to pee, they'd be pouring my pee into the cup because I was the only one not taking drugs. So everybody would take drugs except me, and I would use my pee to get other people pass a drug test and get early. So that's the only way you could get early if you didn't pass a drug test. I don't know how they got the drugs in, but that was nothing to do with me.
How did you maintain such a strong mindset to not fall into the drug use in prison?
I don't want to go too deep into it, Sean, but I was around drugs at an early age. I was around cannabis for an early age. I believe cannabis causes schizophrenia and bipolar in children. It's a great drug for later on in life for adults and stuff like that. But around young kids, I believe that being around drugs early, I never wanted to take that drug because it made me lose my mind. I didn't want to lose my mind. I wanted to better my mind, and I thought drugs were an escape to take your mind off things. So my dad loved this and prefer green, but when I took green, I would see things the wall. I remember seeing Scary Movie, the mask on the wall when I took green, and I learned that I was going to lose my mind taking that stuff. So I never wanted to take it. I never wanted to lose my mind. The things I did want to lose my mind on was ecstasy. White. I'm saying it again. I'm sorry for using the words.
Okay.
But I didn't want to lose my mind. But when the clubbing days, I would lose my mind by taking white and stuff like that. And but when it came to green, I didn't like touching it because it made me lose my mind, and I didn't want to lose my mind in prison, especially because I watched what happened to everybody else. That's why most people end up with the marks on their face because they got involved with white, green, or brown, mostly brown, and they would get themselves in debt. And because they were in debt, that's the reason they put the thing in their face. I didn't get involved in any of that stuff. I never wanted to lose my mind. I wanted to keep my mind. I didn't want to cause trouble to anybody because I didn't like people hassling me. And I would just mind my own business. I just have a laugh in there, joke and enjoy it, and I stayed away from it. I just wanted to read books and learn and develop myself, and I wanted to get out for the better. I had a beautiful missus at the time. Obviously, showing to Miss Scotland, say she was single. I was going to get out and I was going to marry her. That was my plan. That was the whole plan. I was going to go out, get her, move away, settle down, and never ever look back. That was the vision for the future.
What's the story behind what happened to your face?
Look on my face. Oh, I've got a wee scar there. I was out on a night out in the town, and allegedly I've said something to a bouncer, and the bouncers held me down. This is allegedly. This isn't actually. This is what other people said it's happened. They've held me down, and the bouncers kicked my teeth in and opened up my face, and I've got a scar there, about 20 or 30 stitches in my face, and I lost my teeth. And that bouncer had to go up to court to say hurt somebody in the nightclub. But I went and met the Digger magazine. There's a magazine in Scotland called The Digger that tells everybody's court dates and what they're in for. This man allegedly assaulted me, and that never happened that night. Well, in my view to the Digger, that didn't happen that night. That guy never touched me. I fell and hit my own face, and my own face opened, and the guy got off it, and charges got dropped, and I hit my own face on the floor.
And did you say something happened over here because of a dispute with the Brown?
No, that's other people with Brown. That's why I stayed away from drugs. I stayed away from that sort of world. I stayed away from brown, white, and green in prison. So the people that got involved with that stuff would get themselves into debt, and that's why they would get marked in the face, because they'd be into debt to somebody, they wouldn't be paying their debt, and eventually somebody would mark their face. Or that's a lot of violence happened because of drugs, and I stayed away from that. So I wanted to develop my mind. I wanted to better my life and get out for my missus and my future. I went from a violent, unpredictable prisoner to wanting to better my life through books and learning, and I stayed away from that stuff. But everyone, I use the word allegedly again. Like people put a price in somebody's head. So they say if you take the face off him, you get £500 or £1,000 or £50 or £10. The world I come from in Glasgow, you can have a £100,000 couch where you're getting took out the game for £10. So money was irrelevant. It was a value. It was the people with money made the rules. And the financial world, they say the man with the gold makes the rules. It was the same in the prison world. So I stayed away from brown, I stayed away from white, I stayed away from green in prison because I didn't want to involve myself with that stuff. I didn't want to get involved with the sort of people that were involved in that stuff. I knew them all. I know them all very well.
But when you know them all and you are staying away from it, they always seem to come up with ways to get you into the mix.
They want to get me involved to make money with them. But I learned from a young age from my dad in the street life. My dad always wanted me. I wanted to stay away from that life. I never wanted to involve myself with it. I've got family involved in it. They've been publicised in newspapers and stuff like that, so we know. But I never wanted to involve. I never wanted to involve myself with drugs. I've never been motivated by money, Sean. I've been motivated by mission, and my mission was to get out and marry my missus at that time. Eventually, I had a different mission we could talk about with my daughter coming into the world. So I'm mission driven. I want to change the world for the better. That's the reason I'm on this podcast just now. I see myself as using this as a platform, the way you've used your platform to help and inspire school children and people to choose the better life. I went through the Glasgow streets. I never want to glorify that life. I see my life is already dead. I see my daughter and my nephew watching me saying that they've got the money, they've got the Ferrari, they've got the house in Manhattan, they're about to go off a bridge and Dad, I need your philosophy. Uncle, I need your philosophy. I need to stay away from all this madness. I've got everything the world gave me, but I need your words, I need your ideas. So I make these few videos on TikTok, YouTube, stuff like that, and put them on to make sense when I'm no longer here, to guide people away to the better life, the way I was guided by books and learning, from staying away from white, green, brown and prisons, and also staying away from it in the streets. If you want to take a wee bit of that's fine, but don't get involve yourself in debt through it and get yourself your face marked and ruin families, because people in visit rooms, their mums and dads are crying. Their mums and dads are getting attacked in visit rooms. Kids are crying for their mums and dads. They're watching cans get through across visit rooms, and there's kids there. It's a life you don't want to be involved in.
Yeah, and one of the ways we try and inspire these kids to stay away from prison is by showing them the reality of it, because a lot of them think it's all PlayStations and gourmet food. But what you've described, is a hell of a lot of people getting their faces taken off. We're not trying to glorify the violence here. We're trying to let them know the details of how crazy it is. Do you have any stories of things you've seen, horrific things you've seen like that?
In prison or outside prison?
In prison.
In prison, I never watched it, but some people would get through drugs and things would happen, and I never saw it, heard about it. I was in the same hall and somebody been stuff like that, and it's horrific, Sean. And people think it's all glorified, that something's going to happen. You're going to go into prison, meet all your friends like I did when I was younger. But I stayed away from white, brown, and green. I stayed away from that life. I knew how to handle myself. I'd learned from a very early age, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, that I was on my own. I went to prison. I wasn't fearing anything. I already got beat up, so I was already beat up behind closed doors by a family member, not my dad, but someone else, another family member. And I learned in prison that I had to handle myself. And if I was talking to another kid going into prison, like, stay away from white, green, and brown. Stay away from that sort of environment. Focus on yourself, get yourself learning, get yourself reading books, and focus on the vision for getting out and better in your life. You might have made a mistake, you might be getting in. Don't make more mistakes. Get yourself out as early as possible. Do the study, do the learning. There's loads of qualifications in there. I've done a gym inductor's course. I've done learning. There's avenues for people to help you out that life. The people that want to help you out that life are the prison officers are your enemy in there. But at the same time, the education people that come in out of that, like Alcoholics Anonymous, people come in and give speeches, people like yourself, Sean, you want to help prisoners and stuff. We need more of that to help get kids to saying, you can do this stuff too. You can write books, you can learn, you can develop yourself, you can make a difference to your society, and the people around you become a good man.
So, you touched on something horrific there that does happen. The guy who got assaulted sexually. What was the motive there? Had he got in debt, or was it just they just did it to him?
The motive was drug debt, and that's all I heard about it, Sean. I just heard, and obviously people told you that's the guy that got thingied, and horrific, and it happened on the outside as well. Well, allegedly my friends are supposed to have done that to someone, and it's horrific. It's something I would never ever do to someone, another human being.
And it sounds like you saw, or you were aware of, a lot of faces getting slashed in prison.
I watched it. I never done it myself. Like, allegedly, I've done some stuff, but I've never been caught for things like that. So I've watched. Like, you see people's, like, the face gets ripped. You just see it coming out. I've used a knife myself, so I know how a face opens. But it's to show the young ones the way it goes in there. Like, you could be sitting brushing your teeth, just about to brush your teeth, and somebody's just grabbed you from the inside and felt your whole face open. and you've got a big mark there for life just because you've got yourself involved with people you shouldn't have got involved in, and you've got a price in your head. It could be £50, it could be £100. You don't know who's going to do it because everybody's wanting money in there. They're wanting a phone, they're wanting this and that, and people would be getting paid to do this sort of stuff, and you were just in a minefield that you didn't know where it was coming from. If you got a price in your head, you never knew where it was coming from. So that's what most people got it done for, was through money and
Was the
through
single was the single razor preferred or the double razor?
It just depends. It depends who was getting it done and why. And like the double razor was the one with the two razors in the middle of a toothbrush would bring it over. You can do it anyway. You can do it a bit of cardboard, or you can do whatever, and you just switch. So they have to stitch it up more. But it's called the Glasgow smile, and you'll see it a lot in Glasgow back in the old days. It doesn't happen as much anymore. But a lot of people have had their face took off them for many different reasons.
And just to clarify for the young people, then, why is a double razor used?
A double razor because it's harder to stitch up. I think it gives them more pain, but it's harder to stitch up. So a double razor is used, it was to send a message in prison terms that person owed that person money and they got done because of it, and anybody else that didn't pay would get the same stuff done to them. And it was a horrific thing that was seen in prison. So it was a double razor that would take the face off the person, and that's the way it was.
What about juggings?
What? Jugging?
Boiling up oil or ghee?
One of my friends done that and he forgot to put the sugar in it. He just poured water on the person, so he didn't get the person right. But yeah, you used to boil a kettle. I never done it, but you boil a kettle, you put sugar in it, I think. You boil the sugar and then you throw it. You throw it on the person, it covers their face, it burns them, and the sugar burns into their skin. So I'd seen that happen, but the one I saw, the guy he was only water he put and he forgot to put the sugar in. So that's the only one I've seen.
What about people taking their own lives in prison? Did you come across that?
No, never. But somebody did take their life in the hall, but I didn't know the person. Back in 2004 in Pullman, I think in Alicali. I think, in fact, I moved to Iona Hall. I think somebody done it in Alicali, which is Spey Hall. You spoke to some of your guests that had been in Spey Hall in Alicali. I think somebody took their life there, but I didn't know the person. I didn't know. Everything got shut down, and somebody says somebody took their life, and that's by people bullying probably and saying he's going to get it in the morning, and he's probably took his own life. That's what you want the young ones to understand, is that you can lose your life in there. You can lose not just your face, you can lose your life.
How lonely can prison be at times?
You're only lonely if you don't love yourself, Sean. So prison is a way. A monk could be happy in prison if he got the place to himself, because he has a lot of self-love and appreciation for his mind and his heart and his spirit. But if you're not a monk and you're a normal person in the street, prison is going to be lonely. You're going to miss your girlfriend, you're going to miss your mum, you're going to miss your dad, you're going to miss your family and friends, you're going to miss your loved ones. But a large part of life is lonely anyway. It's lonely outside when you're working, you're travelling to work, you're getting back, you're running, you're keeping fit. A lot of life is lonely, but prison is more isolated loneliness. And even the most hardened criminals were fearsome of solitude. They didn't want to go to solitude. I was the opposite. I wanted to go to solitude. I thought it was a perfect place to learn. There was no woman in prison anyway, so it was better off in solitude rather than the mainstream. So it depends what sort of person you are, Sean. Some people are introverted and extroverted. I'm an INTJ in the Myers-Briggs personality test, so I'm introverted. I've got extroversion as high as well, but it's not as high as introversion. I'm an INTJ, so I like a lot of time in my own mind. So somebody else that's extroverted, it would be complete hell and isolation and loneliness in prison. And it depends on your personality. Some people thrive by being alone, putting themselves into a book, a work, and some people don't like themselves and they need other people around them. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you will be lonely in prison if you're by yourself and you're extroverted.
Yeah, there was a lot of lockdowns where I was housed, and the fellas generally would start to lose their minds if they couldn't get out of the doors and go into the day room and stuff. But the lockdowns, I could just get peace and quiet and read and study and do my exercises, and I totally relate to what you're saying.
It's like a Zen retreat for you. You would pay for that now to get away to everybody for a bit of a retreat. But I do think it's probably made me lose my mind, Sean, and not the solitude itself, but the solitude then going to civilian life after solitude. got into mainstream prison, then out to and eventually Greece in 2008. Once I got out of Berlin, try to adapt to that sort of life. I've probably had some traumas and stuff that have led to taking white and going to Greece and taking out all those bank loans and losing the plot in Greece. So I think that being locked in prison for a long time, you get to know yourself. But I'm a Scottish headbagger, Sean. I'm mental. It's like I've got my mind right, my heart's in the right places. I tell people I've got the heart. But I'm a Scottish headbanger up here. My mind is completely lost. I don't focus on changing my mind. I focus everything in my heart, and I believe in heart set more than mindset. My mind is lost. It's not coming back. I've got schizoaffective disorder, which is schizophrenia and bipolar, and the one illness. So I got diagnosed with that in 2010 after coming back from Greece in 2008. So I spend a lot of time by myself, and people know that about me. I like to read and write and spend time by myself. But I think too much isolation can drive you bonkers. I think too much, like you enjoy the zen, sitting reading and having it's just lockdown, but you have to come back into mainstream. And I think when I isolate myself too much, maybe that's what developed into mental illness and stuff. That's probably part of it. It was early trauma, and then solitude, maybe too much solitude, is probably took an effect.
Did you get people visiting you in prison?
Yeah, my mum was up all the time. She drove my girlfriend up to see us, and my dad was up. My dad always stood by me. He says, "I love you no matter what, son." He never helped me in my young life. He says I had to fend for myself, but he taught me street life. He taught me harsh lessons that developed my character for later on in life. I didn't know what he was doing when he held my mum back, saying that to let that person beat me up in the street and say that I had to learn to fight myself. In prison, he knew that I would handle myself, and my dad says he would love me no matter what. So my mum and my dad came up to see my girlfriend, some friends. But your friends kind of stop coming up. They give you excuses, and you lose your friends over time, and it's not the same friends you went to prison with. You don't come out with the same friends. You come out with a new. I stayed away from people in prison. We said we'd meet up once we get outside, but I never kept any prison pals. I talked to them in the street, but I wouldn't go for a drink with them.
Could you take us through what it's like getting a visit? Because, for example, with me, briefly, it's like you go up there, there's a search, your visitors come in, you sit at a table. This is like medium security, and there's like some vending machines, but you can't go to them. But your visitor can go and get you like a Snickers bar or something. You can give your mum a hug, things like that, and then they call time after so many minutes.
So the visitors in Poland, I stopped eating off the hot plate. So I read Bobby Sands' book and stuff like that. I wasn't going on hunger strike, but I stopped eating off the hot plate, and I was losing a lot of weight. So I went to the visit room. I go down and get searched, just a simple search. So we took into a dog box, it was called. It's just a small box. You'd have to take your trousers down and bend down a bit if you thought you had a parcel. But I never ever got searched because they doing it. I wasn't involved in drugs anyway. They have intel and they have cameras and they kind of look who they're watching and stuff like that. I just get patted down mostly. But because I was on not eating off the hot plate, once it came to visit time, the vending machines, it was a wee cafeteria. And the vending machines, my mum and dad would get us 13 bars of chocolate, 13, 14 bars of chocolate, and I would eat them all at once and hammer it all down, Sean. So it's like I wasn't eating in prison and I was losing all the weight, but I was just walking out all the time, living off of noodles and cuppa soups. I done that. I lost 8 stone. I was just walking out all the time. I just refused to eat off the hot plate because I thought one of the boys was a grass. And he was allegedly with the screws and stuff. I was like, just don't even feed me. And they thought I was kidding on. I was like, just don't feed me. So for 8 months, I didn't eat off the hot plate or his canteen. So I went to the visit room, we'd go down and get searched and stuff like that. And I would go in, and my mum and dad would wait for me. They'd have, I'm the only person at the table with every single bar of chocolate. Everybody else is probably trying to get stuff in or something. I'm trying to get more chocolate.
That reminds me of something Wildman done when he finally got some money sent to him when he was in the jail. He spent it all on brownies. And he was just
That's the way it was. You got football coupons in there, so you put 2 bars of chocolate on to do a football coupon. So you home draw away, 1 point for a home, 2 points for an away, 3 points for a draw, and everybody would take 2 bars each, and that's only gambling you've done in prison. And you would put 2 bars of chocolate in each. Whoever got the most points got the chocolate bars. So it's a bit like the brownies, you're sitting eating all the chocolate. Hope to win it. I won it once. I got like, was it 60 bars of chocolate or something? And that was a wonderful night. It was a good night.
And did you have like an inmate store where we were at? They gave you a sheet of paper, and you could spend $20 a week, and you ticked off what you wanted them to bring to your cell. Did you have
Yeah,
anything like that?
yeah. You get your canteen sheet, so it's got all the things like your iron brew, toothpaste, and stuff like that. But you can also get a pro form, and you get stuff sent in from outside: boxers, socks, cassette tape with no record button, tapes, so you can listen to your music, a flute or a guitar, and that sort of stuff. Plus, you could buy stuff from the outside as well, so different shaving cream, and you could come off with your money. You get your canteen sheets. You ask for the pound back because I wasn't watching TV. They take a pound off you for watching TV. But I wouldn't take the TV, so they wouldn't give me a pound back either. It was just a sale. You get a sale wage if you didn't work, and something like £5.60, and then say £10 of what your family put in. So you got £10 a week off your family, £5 odds sale wage, and a pound would come off of your TV, and it would give you the canteen sheet, so you'd have different things that you could eat and enjoy.
What were your preferred items from the canteen sheet?
Mine was Coke noodles, cup of soups, and loads of chocolate. That was it. So I'd eat all the chocolate in the same day, and I would love off a Coke noodles and cup of soups for the next 6 days. So it was once a week we get canteen. So it was chocolate time once the canteen sheet came to me, would just be loads of chocolates and Coke noodles and cup of soups. That was all I was eating.
And the prison food, it was pretty crap, was it?
No, it was good. I just refused to eat it in Pullman, but it was the duff was nice. Duff is cake, so cake and custard was nice. You got caramel cake on a Friday. I think you got fish on a Friday as well. But if the food was fine, Sean, it wasn't. Food's food. It's depends how you want to see it. It's not a gourmet restaurant, but the food in the Scottish prisons is actually. I worked in the cooks when I went to Pullman at first. I worked in that for a couple of months. And so watched how the food was made and stuff like that. So you get your fry up at the weekend and your brunch, and I wouldn't eat the fry up outside, but I would eat it in there. It wasn't that bad.
And what were the staff like? Because I've heard stories from some of the people from an older generation from you, like Ferris and Blink and Johnny Boy, and they talk about people like Slasher Gallagher. Was there any guard brutality, or was it different?
In Berlin, you got that. In Berlin, he was the last of them, I think. They're a different generation from me, Sean. They're all older than me. I'm 38, so they're all older. I know the other people that know them and stuff like that, and everybody in Glasgow knows each other. But in their lifetime, the screws were bad. In my lifetime, the screws were changing because it was becoming more women's screws, and it was if it was students. But you had your tough ones in Pullman. Who was it, I don't know if I can name them, but you had your tough ones in Pullman. It would handle out a beating or two when you overstepped the mark. But it was through changing as I was going in. Some of the prison officers were still old school, and some of the other ones weren't. And if you went in front of a governor, it would be two different screws. One would be the old version, and one would be the new version. And we're kind of moving towards the change in prison. So it wasn't like your Slasher Gallagher days and Ferris and Mike McDonald and stuff like that, wasn't it? It's completely different my times.
And did you get any beatdowns from the officers?
No, they kind of respected me, Sean, because I stopped eating off a hot plate because I was working out and telling them to shove their tail up my bum, and I didn't need anything off them. I didn't want anything. I didn't want white, green, or brown. I wanted to develop my mind. They were calling us Wally Workout, because all I done was work out and feed my mind. And one of the screws was boasting because I allegedly attacked somebody in a cell, and he got us down in a headlock. And every time I seen him, he's laying up his arm and all that, as if he's tough. But the other screws were like, he's pathetic. He was an old school guy. They always say he's pathetic to his face, but they were. And one of the screws, Gary, he brought us a nose and sausages on the Saturday, just trying to get me to eat because I was losing all the weight. He was like, just eat, son. And they bring me in a football coop and say, I know you put coupons on here, you talk to your ma, you put a football coupon on a Saturday, there's a coupon, there's a own sausage. If you give me that respect, because I wasn't eating off the hot plate, because I was starving myself, saying I would rather go with food than eat off of somebody who was cooperating with people and that sort of stuff. So I had a lot of respect for the prisoners as well. They knew I wasn't eating off the hot plate and stuff like that, and the things I was doing. And even in the riot, we had the prison riot, the prisoners gave us the respect to go and talk to the prison officers and let us smash up the place. And we got everything calm, and there's a big guy for Fife who smashed the tail. Like, oh, that didn't. We communicated with him, says everything's all right, and it's like I got respect in there, Sean. People were respecting I was fighting an inner battle, probably my own demons more than anybody else.
So the person who was cooperating then, did he get dealt with?
No, he got it early. He was a ginger boy and he got it early. And it's just people's cells were getting turned over and he didn't get done in and he got it early. And there was somebody else in the hot plate who was done for a murder, but he was supposed to have stuck somebody else in as well. And I just told him not to feed me. I was like, if you're going to put people that, I just don't feed me. And they tried to make friends with me, but it wasn't my fight, my battle with them. I didn't care what they done. I just didn't want to eat off of people who were like that.
Yeah, I hear you. So as it got closer to your release this time, how were you feeling?
The one in Berlin,
Yeah.
I got out in the tag early, Sean, so it let us out early. The tag is a device they put on your ankle, and they have the box in the house, so you have to be in from 7 to 7. So I got out early, and it was lived. You get out of Berlin, but I knew I was getting incarcerated in my own home, and I've never had good feelings about being in my own home because I love my mum to pieces, and she tried her best to have that family unit when I was younger. But by bringing my dad into the house and the people my dad was around, I never had peace in the home. And then when I was got out, I got lived to my dad's house, and I had the tag box in my dad's house, and I took white when I came out. I fell out with my missus. So I felt good to get out. I thought I was going to settle down with her. But I ended up sleeping with everybody, Sean. I ended up just messing around with every single woman, taking white and doing everything because I blamed her for saying she was single in prison on that Miss Scotland. And I went down a bad route with white. And then eventually, a few months later, after I got off the tag, I went to Malia in Greece, and that's when I got sectioned and locked up abroad in a straitjacket.
So in prison, you managed to stay away from everything. Why do you think you slipped into the white when you got out?
I think it was women, Sean. It was more or less women were taking it, I was taking it, and it just led to the goal. So the goal was to get to bed. We just had to do stuff to get to bed, and I think basically I was taking that to get to bed, and that's you turn into somebody different with it, white, and it's something that induces that sort of stuff, I think. And it was a culture thing, so they were coming out getting drink and white, and it was leading to parties, and parties were leading to that. But it was just leading down a bad path, and somebody dropped off a lot of weight at my dad's house for me and my friend to hold. So my friend didn't tell us he was holding it, and we could take as much as we wanted. So we had a lot of it, and when you have a lot of it, you have a lot of women coming to your door, and it was just that sort of thing. I felt my first love, and that was it. So the white led to going crazy, losing my mind.
So it was a socialization thing, and then you ended up getting sectioned. How did that come about?
So I went to Mali. I didn't have, well, I paid the holiday, but I didn't have a lot of money back then. I was doing paint and decorating. I was getting £300 a week. I was doing 15 hours paint and decorating, paid the holiday. But I would go into the bank every day and put £300 in the bank, take out the hole in the wall and put it in the next bank, and take 300 out the hole in the wall. And every single day I would do that for a few months. And I would ask them all for a loan, a credit card, and everything at once. And I would do all my credit for your Asda store cards, the Tesco credit cards. So I'd have a big bundle of money because they thought I had good credit because I was putting money in all the time but not keeping it in. The bank manager was good at my talking. So I would talk to the bank manager, says, if you give me a credit card, I'll keep the money in. I just don't keep it in because I don't trust the banks because they've never given me anything. So they gave me the credit card, they gave me a loan, and I'd do the same to different banks. So I done it with 5 banks at once. And I went over to Greece with the intention of not coming home. I don't know if I was suicidal, Sean, but I'd lost the girl I loved, and I was going with my friends. I was 10 years, and I thought I was just going to have a party, be the heart and soul of the party, have the time of my life, and I was probably going to end my life or go to Turkey or something after it. That was a plan, go to another country and just not come home. But then I was running about mad, just partying every night, sleeping with a different woman, and doing that life. I was sick of it. It was like sleeping with women, and I was getting numb. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And then I just lost it. I just lost my mind. I started ripping up money. And my friends talked us into the ambulance. I went into the ambulance, went to the security ward, as I says, and I had the dip wires in my arms. They told us to, I pulled out my arms, they put the gun in my head, and they've put us into high security. A tasered me and put me into high security around in Heraklion and Crete, and that padded cell, and holding me down and dragging me, injecting me. And it was the worst day of my life, but also the best day of my life because it gave us purpose and meaning when I got home to transform my life. And then once I got home from Greece through the British Embassy and bringing us back home, I went on YouTube and I seen a wee monk called Ajahn Brahm, and he would tell us stories, and I would sit and listen to this monk, and I wanted that mind. I just watched his wee stories, and I wanted to just tell stories online and live a better life. I locked myself in the house. I got a house in Maryhill Flats. I shaved all my hair off and locked myself in the house for 30 days. So I didn't have any money, as much money as I was on at the time. Once I got back to Greece, I shaved all my hair off and wanted that monk mind. I locked myself in the house for 30 days and kept YouTube videos and created a following through just talking and saying, listen, I'm locking myself in the house for 30 days. I'm imprisoning myself because I want to learn meditation and a better mind. And then from that, just same happened again, Sean. I got out and got involved in white, and I had the monk mind, and then by chasing women, I ended up taking white again. In 2008, Greece, and in 2010, I got the diagnosis, and I just had enough. Eventually, the monk just got in my mind. At 2010, I said, listen, they gave us a bus pass. I got money for being disabled. So they said that will give you disability money. They gave us a free bus pass in Scotland, so you can get free travel around the full country. And I went round and used the full country. I went bus to bus. I went in all the temples, the castles, and I was like a wee monk walking around. My pal came with us, and we had two meals for a tenner. We didn't have any money, so it was a £5 each, 2 meals for a tenner. And we just got in the full country with a free bus pass. Staying in, one night we had to pay £25 for a hotel room. A Chinese guy's cupboard. He had a hotel, he had one room left and one cupboard. And we had £25 each. We flipped for I got the cupboard, and it's like looked in a cupboard. It's like that was the life back 2010. And then 2011-12, I had a bit of chaotic times staying in Maryhill High Flats, the Wynford Flats in Maryhill. It's called the Murder Block. So a lot of stuff happened. So I got involved. Well, allegedly, I was involved with knife crime again. Someone stabbed somebody in the head. I got the blame for it. I got remanded in 2010, but I got out after 3 days because it wasn't me. I got high court bail. So high court bail means that you get out by the courts because there was a chance you might have had a miscarriage of justice or something like that, or your case wasn't completely solved. And I got out, and it was through a court, and I decided then that I was going to stay away from all that life forever. That takes us back to why I got that in my face. In fact, that was 2010. My face, where I got booted in the mouth. This story, when that allegedly happened to the guy who booted me in the mouth, I've said that I fell on the floor because I fell on the floor and cut my own face. After that, Sean, the people I know, I got the guy's address for the computer to go and kill him. And I decided there and then, how did you get the address? And the address came off a policeman's computer. And I said to myself, I was finished with that life forever. And I said I would never ever get involved in crime again. That's why the guy, I fell on the ground. I got the guy's address. I said to myself, I'm walking away from that life. I got into Buddhist meditation. I went in the hills. I met a girl, and I was going to be a dad in 2012, and it was going to change my life forever. My wee girl was born in 2013, the 30th of January, 1829. I'm sorry, if you ask the questions, I'll be able to.
How did you meet your girlfriend that you had the baby with?
She watched it on YouTube. She watched she was showing her mum and YouTube videos talking, and her mum was like, "You just lost the plot. I'm not going to go with that guy." And she was involved in my online life and the peace, the mountains, the travel. I was going with my mates every day. We were going for saunas and steam rooms, going out for meals, 2 meals for a tenner with tap water. Tap water's free in Scotland. So if any of you are ever in Scotland and are getting a ginger or an alcoholic beverage, you get tap water for free. So if you're in a pub or bar, you get water free. We were going to have the water for free, traveling the country. She would see the life I'm living and fell in love with the lifestyle I had of just. She was a business development manager. I think she was on 75 grand a year or something. She had 2 cars, an office in Belfast. She had her own house and stuff like that. And she met me who had nothing. And then I was going to be
So she was a really good influence on you.
She was business minded, and she wanted me to change for her life and to settle down. But Sean, I wasn't in the right frame of mind to settle down at that time. I was still messing around with other women and stuff like that. I never promised her that I was going to settle down. And when my daughter found out I was going to be a dad, I never promised marriage or settling down. I wasn't in the right frame of mind. I just wanted to be my daughter's life. I wanted to be a dad. I didn't want the married life. I didn't want the settled life. I wanted to be a dad. My number one thing in life is to be a dad and be all I could for my daughter. I never loved her mum the way I should have. And I had to be honest with her, says I don't love you the way I should, and it's it's me, I'm going to be a dad, I'm always going to be there. And she wasn't happy with that, so it caused a lot of conflict by me not wanting to settle down and getting her pregnant. So it wasn't a good time in my life. It was the best time in my life, I was going to be a dad, but
did that cause you guys to break up then, because you told her that?
we were never really together, Sean. We fell out quite a lot because she would try and tell me I had to grow my hair and I had to do this, and I was like, stop trying to change me. I am who I am, and we just have a wee bits of conflict, and I never want to settle down. But then she got pregnant, and we tried to settle down, but it was never going to work.
And it's around that time you lost 8-9 stone.
I lost 8-9 stone in Pullman, and then I put the weight back on when I got to Pullman, and then I lost it in Berlin, and then I put it back on when I got to Berlin, and then I came back to Greece, and I went back up to 22 stone. And then once my daughter was born without my name in the birth certificate. The same story that happened to me as a kid. She didn't have my second name. She's not the second name isn't Robertson. I keep my daughter on social media and stuff like that, but her second name isn't Robertson, and it hurt me a lot. But it was the same stuff I went through as a kid. The name change, because I'm big into Scotland, and I'm a Scottish headbanger. I love my Robertson clan, I love my history, I love my bloodline, I love where I come from. But with my daughter not getting my second name, that kind of separated us, and that kind of drove me insane. So it was mad.
Well, losing the weight and doing the running, did you have to stay off the white during that period?
I stayed off the white completely. When my daughter was born, I was still having alcohol, but I wouldn't touch drugs. I wouldn't touch white, brown, or I never ever touched brown, and I didn't touch brown or green. I would just touch white, but I stopped white completely. Once my daughter was born, I says, I'm going to change my life forever. I was going to turn the camera around to myself and say, I'm going to go on YouTube, Facebooks, Instagrams, and say, I'm going to eat an apple a day, drink water, meditate. I'm going to sign up and run a 100-mile distance. And I was 22 stone at the time, giving talks saying, I'm going to run 100 miles, I'm going to be an ultra-running athlete, I'm going to be a change in my daughter's life. And people are watching, it's like, you're crazy. And that's when I seen you on Twitter at the time, Sean, you were getting these talks, and it gave me a vision to say that I could do this stuff. And I was talking on YouTube, learning how to speak and stuff, and I saw you and I saw other people doing it. I was looking at Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, but they never had a past, whereas you had the past. You came to Arizona at home, well, England to Arizona back, and gave these talks and helped school children and stuff, and I thought I could be an inspirational role model and help other people's lives. And I was just talking all the time. Eventually I got to, lost 8 stone, 9 stone, ran a marathon, ran 26.2 miles at 22 stone with a tracksuit on, with no training, hill walking shoes and a tracksuit. Didn't even know the distance, Sean. I was down in Blackpool with my mate, and I was like, I'll sign up. I put the bib on, and I was running. I done it in 4 hours 53, and then 2 years later I done it in 2:55. So I ran it under 3 hours. 2 hours later, and then I started to run ultra marathons and became an ultra running athlete and started running these crazy distances, 50 miles, 100 miles. I got help with ASICs and running the shoe companies. I was on STV News. I worked with York Hill Children's Charity. I helped put the men's 10K together. It was going out of business, and I went on STV News to get funding for the men's 10K. And it was a Father's Day event for fathers to be fathers in their kids' life. But all that time I didn't share that I was going through a custody battle, Sean, because I wasn't with my kid's mum and I wasn't with the birth certificate. I just didn't have my second name. For 4 years, that whole time running, I stayed away from white completely, stayed away from all old friends and stuff like that. I focused completely on running and being an inspiration to my daughter, meditating and feeding my mind. I wanted to be a role model to my daughter. It was just love, and I changed my life. I was running my heart. When I was running these marathons, I took these videos at the end saying, Daddy's watching you, Daddy loves you, the door to my house, the door to my heart will always be open to you. And after 4 years, the judge, I was seeing my daughter on and off because I was getting back with the ex to see my daughter, but she wasn't telling the court that. And then we went to court. The judge gave me access. He gave me every second weekend and a week in the summer access. I was the first person to get my previous in prison violence and unpredictability, being sexually in Greece, and having a diagnosis with schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia and bipolar. I was the first person to get access to a little girl with that diagnosis. So I won access, and my daughter had these happy times, just coming to my house and just having a great time. So running was a tool that I used in a vehicle.
So what went wrong then for you to end up in high security Wishaw IPCU?
Before IPCU in Wishaw, to 2013 when my daughter was born, to 2016, I ran many ultramarathons and marathons. I got invited to Barcelona to speak with Art Napolitani, who's one of Donald Trump's friends in the business world. He says to me, if I could get to Barcelona, he'll pay. And I went over, they're all wearing Rolexes and big fancy watches. I went over with a Primark shirt and a running watch. And I came back in 2016 and I got sectioned. I thought that things were following me, the TV was following us and people were following us. I got put in a McKinnon house in Stoke Hull. I thought I was never going to recover. 2017 I did recover. I was back on TV in 2018. I followed yourself back on Twitter and or the Tony Robbins and Eric Thomas and motivational speakers. Got back involved, got back into running. I put the weight back on in 2016 and I lost it again. 2018 back on TV. 2019 was great. 2020 I moved to East Kilbride to co-parent with my daughter's mum because things were getting on well. I was getting my daughter more. I moved to East Kilbride outside. I moved from Glasgow, Mary Hill to East Kilbride to be in my daughter's life more to pick her up from school. But the isolation drove us mad, Sean, as in I was spending too much time in the forest. Not enough time socialising. COVID happened and eventually I thought again that everything was following me. It's a mad one. I'll just be 100% honest with you here and say that I ran about the streets naked and says I was singing the Flower of Scotland at 7 o'clock in the morning and pointing to my heart saying if you're going to shoot me, shoot me. There was nobody there. And the neighbours like, what's going on? I got locked up in high security in Wishaw. I completely lost my mind and I was locked up in high security. And in Wishaw, you get 2 rooms at each side in high security. There's only 2 people in it, and you eat dinner together, or sometimes one at a time. And it's just a complete isolation, an intense psychiatric community. I don't know the words for it, but it's complete isolation. I would say that's harder than prison. That's complete isolation, as in you don't even get to read. You're just on a bed and they're watching you 24/7, and it was a horrible place to be.
And were you paranoid in there?
I thought everybody was watching, Sean. It was pretty funny because like the times that I've been in, the first time in Greece, I thought I was Jesus or something. I thought I had some sort of mission. And so did the other Greeks. They thought they had a mission as well. So I'm in all these nutters thinking they've all got a mission and they're trying to help save each other. So in Greece, I thought I had a mission that I was Jesus or something, that I'd walk on water. I thought the sun was following us and everybody were connected. Eventually they let us out and they let us use my credit card and I bought everybody pizzas and when I was in the open ward of Greece. They let us out of the Paris at the open ward. And then in 2016, when I was sectioned after Barcelona into Stoke Hull, my paranoia was I thought everybody was watching me. But I was sitting in this room and we're sitting around the table and like say 5 people this side and 5 people that side. And I think they're watching me and they think I'm watching them. We're interrogating each other. You're watching me, scared of talking at. It's like it was a mad time. And then in Wishaw, I was paranoid, but there was nobody else about except the hospital nurses and stuff like that because it was complete isolation. And the paranoia was written at me. I thought that I was getting recorded. There was like devices and everything. It was just complete paranoia because what I've got is schizoaffective, so bipolar. You get mania where you don't sleep for 6 or 7 days, so you get so high, and the mania leads to schizophrenia where you get delusional thoughts and ideas. So if you don't sleep for 5 or 6 days, it would knock anybody bonkers. With mania, you can run all night, you can do crazy things. You think you're at the top of the world, you can run about the streets naked like I did and sign the Flower of Scotland thing if he's watching us. But then you get brought back down to earth through medication and injections and stuff like that, and you do recover, Sean. So the message to young ones with mental health problems and stuff and difficulties with schizophrenia and bipolar, you do recover, you can get better.
So it sounds like the previous times, though, were preceded by you being involved with the drugs and the white. But this last time, did you say that it was the lockdown that exacerbated it?
I would say the lockdown, being isolated, because I just moved from my home from Mary Hill to East Kilbride. I didn't know anybody. In Mary Hill, Glasgow, I talked to everybody, Sean. I talked to the Tesco people, the hairdresser, the bookies, talked to them. I talked to everybody, and I know loads of people all over Glasgow and just stop, shake hands, trade stories, have a good time. It was a great community. I moved to East Kilbride and I didn't know anybody. And when the lockdown was there, I couldn't go to Glasgow. My mum couldn't visit. I couldn't see my family. I wasn't getting my daughter because we couldn't. I would sneak in to see her, so we weren't supposed to see each other, but because of like the COVID stuff, and I was just isolated, Sean. And through the isolation and not seeing anybody, eventually it took its toll, and I ended up bonkers and running about the streets crazy.
How do you prevent that from happening in the future?
There is no prevention, Sean. It is what it is. It's a mental illness. I'm always going to live with it. But through Stoic philosophy, I believe that Stoic philosophy and Buddhism both together are the key to all mental health problems. Finding acceptance in it, finding like madness in my mind and not want to change it. If I go mad, what am I going to do? Go to the hospital? I'm going to be okay. No matter what happens, I want to captain my own ship. No matter what happens, I want to. I've not got it in here. I've got it in here now, and it's just I go with heart set. And if I get took to hospital, I know there's a way out. I've got the blueprint. Same when I put the weight back on again. I'm starting running. I've got the Loch Ness Marathon, the Lanzarote Marathon, the Cyprus Marathon, and maybe the 100 mile next year. I know the method to, when you put the weight on, you know the method to lose the weight. You know when you lose your mind, you know the method to get your mind back again. And I believe through Stoic philosophy, Stoicism, I believe that all young boys, all people, all men should learn philosophy as in school. It should be taught in school, Stoicism, and how to be the better man no matter what happens in life. See it like a boxing match, like life's your sparring partner. It's going to hit you in the jaw, it's going to put you in your knees, it's going to throw you in your back. If you go in your back, you can look up and get back up and see life like a sparring partner and become a better person through adversity. So I'm not going to prevent mental health happening again. It might happen. I can go mad tonight straight after this podcast. That's when I make these TikTok videos and social media and things. These are for my daughter, my loved ones, to watch when I'm no longer here, to say that I did have the right heart and I did leave behind the right message and I lived by my philosophy. And I feel like I've got meaning in my life, and meaning helps me. Whereas in 2020, I lost my meaning. 2016, I went chasing the people in Rolexes telling me to come and hang about with them, and I'm not interested in that life. They're inviting me to go and speak, and I've not got 2 pennies to rub together, and they're paying me to come to Barcelona and sit with these people who are like affluent wealth. And I know people are wealthy, I know people aren't, and there is no difference. We're just human beings. But for me personally, I think I lost my mind chasing other people's dreams. In 2008, I chased Amalia in Greece, a good section, because I was all about getting money and having a good time. 2016, I lost my own path in ultra running and fruit and vegetables. I went vegan a lot, Sean. I ended up making vegan and mental health and all that in STD News. I lost it because I went to Barcelona and chased other things because I was influenced by other people. 2020, it was the isolation, moving away to a new town. And then I was put back in Wishaw in 2022. They took us in before it happened, because they can tell if I'm manic, because I got a CPN and a doctor and a psychiatrist, so they monitor me now. But when I moved from Glasgow to East Kilbride, I never had anybody monitor me because it lost the records, and I didn't have a nurse, I didn't have medication, I didn't have anything. And then in 2022, they seen that I was getting manic and high, and they took me straight into Wishaw, locked me up, just injected me, and says, "Listen, just sit here for a bit of time, you're boot soon." And they knew that if I was getting too high, they'd bring me in, shove medication in my throat and inject me, and I'll be out in a month. So if it happens again, I've got a fallback.
There's a lot to digest there, William, but I find it very inspirational that you have this like go with the flow attitude, and you've got this holistic approach through stoicism, because that book you were waving earlier, Meditations, is one of my favorite books, and I read it over and over in prison. And I think, in particular, when things are chaotic around you, it grounds you, doesn't it? Because it puts this framework in your head that you can fall back on. And it's so cool that you've done that, man, and you've got to this place.
It's brilliant, because you've read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I've read it. Your Nelson Mandelas have read it. They've been inspired by it, and hopefully the young ones watching this will pick up Marcus Aurelius Meditations. If it's influenced your life, it's influenced my life, and Stoicism has changed and impacted our lives for the better. Maybe philosophy is the answer, and I believe it is the answer for mental health difficulties in this, because we're over-prescribing medication, plus we're over-prescribed to other people's influence and plans, where Stoicism brings you back to individuality, making you your own man, your own person, and an individual person. I believe that Stoicism is the answer. I believe that that's the answer to our psychiatric problems.
Yeah, and if anyone's watching this and they're curious, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. Just put Stoicism quotes, STOICISM, and tons will come up. And, if I'm feeling a bit under the weather, I'll just put one of them on, and it just gets your mind retrained to not let these things bother you, because they don't matter.
No, they don't. If you read the Daily Stoic, by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah. I've got the audio book. Yes,
that's an easy one to digest for people getting into Stoicism, because he takes it and makes it in modern day terms. Because Marcus Aurelius Meditation, it's a bit hard to digest for a young one, maybe, compared to the Daily Stoic. I recommend the Daily Stoic. So it's mad how yourself are influenced by that, and I've been influenced by it. So there's something there.
Yeah, the author of the Daily Stoic, I believe, was a protege of Robert Greene, And Robert Greene, he's just full of all the ancient wisdom in his books, and they're quite inspirational as well. But you were inspired to. He's what?
He's my favourite author, Robert Greene. The 48 Laws of Power.
We had him on. It's on the channel. I've got a 2-hour interview with him, and he was only supposed to stay on for an hour, but he was having so much fun. He stayed on for an extra hour. It's a really good vibe. You might want to check that one out.
Oh, I definitely will. I'll come off after this and take notes, because I love Robert Greene's philosophy. I love the strategy of war when he talks about Robert Bruce and playing the bagpipes to keep the English up and raising the crops and how it all works. And he uses the strategies of war, the 53 strategies of war. That's probably my favourite book. The 48 Laws of Power. You're in the podcast world. We know certain podcasters. They're all playing power games and stuff like that. That 48 Laws of Power can help a young man in that world. Use it for the greater good. But the laws of human nature, when you read that, you actually get into yourself. Like, that's me. That's no everybody else. That's me with the problem. I'm the bad one here. I'm the envious person. I might be narcissistic. I might be this. I might be that. So that's what, rather than point it outward, the laws of human nature makes you point inward, and you start to change yourself. So I've been influenced by your change by talking to the young ones and helping them through their change and transformation. But Robert Greene's book and Ryan Holiday's Daily Stoic, and Robert Greene's book, The Laws of Human Nature, 53 Strategies of War stuff. These things have changed and impacted my life completely forever.
I appreciate you saying that, man. It's inspirational and heartwarming for me to hear that I had that influence on you. So thank you for that, brother. But you were inspired to write your own book, weren't you? Smile Every Mile.
Smile Every Mile. It's a mantra my mate Wallace gave us. Wallace is an accountant. A good man. If I had to pick a husband for my daughter, I'd want him the sort of character that Wallace is. He's got a great network of people, just a beautiful human being. And I met him through running, and he would just say, "Wally, just enjoy yourself, smile every mile. You run for your daughter, you don't run for medals and achievements." I was winning some of these things, and I won a 10K. I was getting my shoes bent. Like, just smile every mile and enjoy it. That was the name of my book, Smile Every Mile. And my book talks about how I went from prisons and homeless beginnings with my mum to Bologna, Pullman. It talks about in depth more about mental health and weight gain and weight loss, vegan nutrition, plant-based nutrition, and how to get results in ultramarathon running, how to get into speaking and stuff like that. Because I've seen your book, Sean. You've wrote 3 books at the time. That was in 2013. I think you did 3 books. How many books you got now? 5 or something?
17.
17. I think you only had.
Yeah, there's the latest one, Sit Downs with Gangsters. It's got Blink and Chet and John A. Light on the cover. It's like 10 each chapter is one of my hardest hitting podcast guest stories. Yeah, but I'm just looking at yours now on Amazon, because people can get it on Amazon.
I took it off, John, because of the Smile Every Mile. The first one sold out in Waterstones and Amazon and stuff like that. The real book of Smile Every Mile is sold out, but the book on Amazon is a copy of the same book, just without the last chapter in it, because the last chapter is a bit delusional. It didn't make any sense. I was going off on a tangent, and I couldn't take the last chapter out because the book had already been published. I didn't care about. I just wanted the right message to get across to people, and I thought by taking that last chapter out and putting the message across that this book works. I'm not. You can get it free on Kindle. I don't care. Just read it. If you want to get into ultra running, you want to change your life, you get it free on Kindle. You can buy it on Amazon, or you can get it downloading Kindle through Kindle Unlimited. And I just want people to live the better life. I read a quote by Navo this morning. If they wrote it to make money, don't read it. And that's the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius. That's why I wanted to banish all my books and stuff like that. I wanted to banish everything and go off the face of the earth and make my peace with death. I've got a quote in my wallet that says, "Remember, you will die. Live life fully now. You don't get a bad day if you're breathing." In front of my TV. The TV's not on. That quote's there on top of the TV. And I just want to put the right message out there to people. And you've sat down with gangsters, but first of all, you changed your own life, Sean. You changed your life, and you inspired me to go and give talks and speeches. If it wasn't for seeing you doing it, getting locked abroad and giving talks, then I wouldn't have had somebody else to see. So when a young person sees me sitting talking to you, you're a highly influential guy, and you've got loads of podcasters. You've been sat down with the biggest and toughest guys. I'm a Scottish headbanger. I'm no gangster. I've been involved, and I know people in that world. But I'm just a Scottish headbanger, a madman who loves my daughter, who loves my country, who loves my freedom, who loves my peace, and wants to share that and better the world, leaving behind a message to my daughter, my nephew, to leave behind when I'm no longer here. So I want the right message to go out. The same as I don't glorify that world. I'm not going to sit down and say I'm a gangster and I'm doing this and that. I could sit down and glorify that world. Allegedly, there's been very many things happening that you could glorify. But as I think Ferris says at one of your podcasts, only the best criminals don't get caught or something like that. He says in one of the podcasts. So,
well, you've got a hell of a powerful story, William, and a testimony to that is your reviews here. You've got 4.4 star rating out of 5 on Amazon. One here saying, great book, 5 stars. After seeing William on TikTok, how inspirational he is, I decided to try his book, Smile Every Mile. It chronicles his inspiring journey from an unhealthy lifestyle to one of self-discipline and accomplishment, fueled by a desire to be a better role model for his daughter. I mean, that's fantastic. Next one is inspired.
I've got one at the bottom. The guy called me Mr. Ultra. There's somebody who has to go a run with me. I beat the person in the competition. He gave me 1-star review in my book. He never read the book. He says, I read enough of his drivel when he was Mr. Ultra. He was somebody who was competing with me. So me and my friends laugh at that. They call us Mr. Ultra. He's called us Mr. Ultra. So the other people have got honest reviews. He was in a bad mood because I beat the racing, the 1-star review. So the other ones are.
So you contacted me on Twitter, and your Twitter handle is Robertson4am. I'm going to put all your links in the description box below this video if you want to email them over to me. But for the viewers who are listening to this on audio only, can you let them know where they can find you, William?
On Twitter, wrobertson4am. Instagram, the same address, at wrobertson4am. Facebook, William Robertson. And TikTok, wrobertson4am. I make these videos, I do the quotes and tweets and stuff like that, then I delete everything. So that's why I reached out to you, Sean, to say I can go on these podcasts. So if I delete my own social media, I might be on yours forever. So because I always delete things, I'm always working to improve and get better. I never ever keep things. So this time I want to keep behind things to leave behind a legacy. So I'm chasing a legacy to leave behind when I'm no longer here. 4 a.m. is the time I used to wake up in the morning to go running and find my solace in ultra running and meditation in the morning. And I just want to leave behind a message for other people. So when I'm making these videos, if anyone's got any questions or anything, they just direct message me or Twitter me or tweet me. My email address is williamrobertsonfreedom, all one word, @gmail.com. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to, with yourself, Sean, if you're ever in Glasgow, as I says, and you're giving talks, I'll happily do it for free. I'll come along with you if you want to sit down with somebody that's got a crazy story and somebody that can help you better, I'll do that. And if there's any people that need help through mental health or transformation or relate to my story, I'd happily do most of it for free. I'll do it all for free. If they can pay the travel and they can pay the food, and I'll happily turn up and give the person the one. I'm not motivated by anything else, but I'm not to inspire change and motivation in other people to live the better life. I've got enough. I've got more than enough. I've got more than toast and beans, Sean. I've got more than toast and beans, and I've got more than tap water. So anybody needs any help and advice, I'm happy to turn up and make a difference.
You've got inner wealth, brother. You've got a pure heart and soul, and that's what matters.
Thanks a lot, mate. I appreciate it, Sean.
Is there anything I've left out or you'd like to tell the viewers who've been watching for the almost 2 hours now? Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion to them?
Just hopefully they've got their time worth. Hopefully they've got their time worth from myself and yourself. Hopefully they've got their time worth on this planet, because time is more valuable than money. We can get more money, we can't get more time. And hopefully I've given you your time worth today to make you a better person, a better man, to see life like a boxer, to see it as a sparring partner. So when the bills don't get paid, you don't see your kids, something goes wrong in life, the cancers, the mental illness and stuff like that, see it like a boxer, see yourself like an Olympic champion, like a stoic, and be a better man, a better person, and make the rest of your life the best of your life, being all you possibly can for yourself and your loved ones, and enjoy your life, because you don't get a bad day if you're breathing. Just enjoy it every single day, and that's it really. When you face the sunshine, your shadows fall behind you. Just keep going forward.
What a fantastic way to end it. And wow, viewers, if you've enjoyed William's story as much as I have, I mean, the stories at the beginning just were so hard hitting. It was just bam, 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 one after the other. And then the transformation to where he is today. Please let William know in the comments. Give us your support. And all of William's links, like I said earlier, if you're watching this on YouTube, are going to be in the description box below the video. So please go down and go over to his other platforms and follow and share and leave a comment there. And thank you again, man, for reaching out and for coming on and for spending this time with us, William. You have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Happy Father's Day and Namaste.
And yeah, namaste to you. Cheers.